Hi everyone! Welcome to the second in the series of scale preparations for the New York State Solo Fest audition. This one is aimed at levels 3 and 4, and those scale preparations are the same for those levels. So at this level, what you're preparing are 7 one-octave scales. They're going to choose 2 for you. You have to do them from memory, and you have to prepare 1 two-octave scale, and you do have to play that. So you get to pick that one. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat, I almost always tell people to play the G scale for this one. I know it's more shifting than the E scale, but for most of us at this point, when we've hit level 3 and 4, we've done a lot of work with G major, and the scale will fall very naturally for us. So I'm actually going to hit that one first right now. If you want to zip ahead to later in the video, you can practice it with me, but I'm just going to explain it now. I'll put up an image of the scale, and you can find the PDF as well if you want to print that out for yourself. But this scale, I do it one of 2 ways. For most people, this is the way that's most comfortable. So we start in first position and we go till we run out of fingers. 2, open, 1, 2, right? This is a C natural, open, 1, 4 for F sharp, open G, 1, 4 for B. Now we have to shift, we're out of fingers. C natural with 1, D with 4, out of fingers, move again, E with 1, F sharp with 4, and then we just open the hand slightly and play 3 harmonic. So that's easy for most people because you're going to run out of fingers, run out of fingers, run out of fingers. So it's just 1 4 1 4 1 4 all the way up. Let's come back down from here. So G harmonic, do it exactly the same way going back. 4 1 4 1 4 1 4 1 2, because we're at C natural. Otherwise you're going to hit a G sharp and it's going to sound really bad. So that's one way to do it. The more grown-up or professional way, I will show you as well. We start the same. Until here. Now we're going to shift and do B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And that's because we end most scales 2, 4. Now you know that starting here, I'm not going to use 4 anymore because it doesn't really fit ergonomically. I can't get that 4th finger on there. I know right now you're like, Miss Gaelen, you're getting your 4th finger on the fingerboard, but like really truly the 4th finger doesn't really fit anymore. From here on out, legally, we play the 3rd finger and the 4th finger just kind of hangs out and watches the fun. And legally behind here, the 4th finger plays and the 3rd finger just helps. So I like this one a lot. If it's freaking you out to do that, it's cool. Do the other fingering, it's fine. But the other fingering I'm showing you, the sort of more grown-up professional fingering, let's do that going backwards. So here we are on G harmonic. 3 2 4 1 4 2, that's C and B. And that one is A and G. Now we're just back to like normal old scale. Don't stress, I'm going to show you that whole thing slow at the end of the video so you can play along with me. And I'll do both ways at the end of the video so you can pick and choose whichever fingering. And I'll zoom the camera in on my fingers so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now, you have 7 one-octave scales to pick and choose from. In the first video series, I've already covered C, G, D, B flat, and F. I've covered a lot of ground already. So the things that are left for us to cover are, in my opinion, this is what I teach my students, A and E. Well, here's the thing, A and E are the same fingering as D. We have so much bonus material on bass. D was this. Well now, this is buy one, get 2 free, because I could go from D, clunk, over to the A string, and just play the same thing, clunk, over to the E string. have a teacher in school who says, oh no, you have to use half position. You're welcome to use half position. I just really love buying one thing and using it multiple ways. So since I know D really well from school orchestra, why don't I just use it for A and use it for E? Especially if I'm feeling under pressure in an audition situation. I want to nail that scale. I just want to get my points, man, and get onto my solo because I've practiced my solo really hard. So that's my advice for doing A and E, is use those. If you watch the first video, once you know B flat, you know F, buy one, get one free. You know G because you've already done this in the 2-octave scale. So the one thing I want to teach you right now, you don't necessarily need it. You've got your 7 if you've watched the first video. I want to introduce this idea of the universal pattern scale. You don't need it, but I want you to learn it because when you move on to level 5 and 6, you are going to need it. Universal scale I teach as the B natural scale. So play along with me. B natural is 1, C sharp 4, D sharp 1 in half position, E natural come back 1 first position, F sharp 4, G sharp 1 half, A sharp, aka B flat, 2 first position, B natural 4, 2 for A sharp, G sharp go back 1, F sharp come back home, E natural, D sharp, C sharp come back, B. I'm not going to talk, watch my fingers again. Shift, come back, shift, come back, shift, come back, shift, come back. So there's something that happens within universal pattern. One note out, come back. One note out, come back. And I think I'm gonna do a whole breakout video on this actually, because it's so useful, you guys. It's so useful. I can play it anywhere on the bass. I don't have to play it for B. I can play it for D if I want to. Shift, come back. Shift, come back. Shift, come back. Shift, come back. I can do it anywhere. But I can also do it when we get up to the next level. I can do it on all those pesky scales like A flat, D flat, E flat. They can even call it G sharp and I can be like, no problem, G sharp, I got this. I'll talk about that more in the level 5 and 6 video, but I want you to start now when you have the opportunity to play the B scale and practice B scale, really thinking about the note names and putting together that fingering. And then when you get really comfortable with it, start to apply it to other like less treacherous scales like D and see how what I mean about how they go together. All right, I think we're ready to move on to the practice of these scales. So this is my recommendation for levels 3 and 4. You pick C, D, A, E, F, B flat, and G, or B natural as your 7. And then the G major in 2 octaves. That's what I teach as the sort of package offering. And you know that when you walk into the room, you will play the G octave in 2 octaves, excuse me. And that from those 7 scales, they will pick 2 one-octave scales to ask you to play. All of it is from memory, so you have to really be working in advance on those one-octave scales. So what I do is every day I ask my students to play at least 2 and they're practicing. And when they walk into their lesson, I ask them 2 or 3 one-octave scales. And if you have a scale that you're like, oh, I really hate whatever, F, that's the one you need to work on the most. All right, let me get set up with the camera a little closer on me and then we'll walk through all 7 of the 1 octaves and the 2 octave scale nice and slow together. We'll practice them through. Okay, it's practice time for all 7 1 octave scales that I'm recommending here for level 3 and 4. We're going to play them straight through, starting with C major. 1, 2, ready, go. Set yourself up D major now. D, dog. 1, 2, ready, go. Stick with this theme of fingering. Move over, A string. 1, 2, ready, go. E string, E scale. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's do B flat next. So half position, no shifts. 1, 2, ready, go. F major, same thing. Move over 1 string to E string, F major. One more, my friends. I want to do B natural. You could call G major your last one, even though you're calling G major 2 octaves. We're going to do that in a minute anyway. So let's do B natural if you're learning the universal pattern and playing on that. So here's B natural, first position. Zoom this out. Okay, and let's practice our 2-octave G scale together. And I promise I'll remember to count us in this time. The first way is the 1-4, 1-4, 1-4 harmonic way. 1, 2, ready, go. Now if you're taking the other route up, the one where you shift early at B, let's practice that way. Just pick one, by the way. Please don't practice them both and confuse yourself. Just pick one and stick with it. You can learn them both at some point, but you don't want to walk into your audition and have that moment of, which road am I taking? Just pick one. You don't get extra points for picking one versus the other. Okay, here we go. This is the one where we shift at B to second finger. 1, 2, ready, go. As I say in all my videos, the big caveat, the big warning word is that I am deaf now, so my pitch is probably not perfect. So please don't worry about it if we don't match pitch. This is more for you to know when do I shift and what are the fingerings. You work with your tuner and work with your teacher to make sure your pitch is accurate. You can always check against an open string. I highly recommend practicing with drone pitches, and I use things like iTabla Pro or the Tuning CD, which is on iTunes now, or you can use, there's drone websites. I can actually link all this in the comments for you, but don't get too concerned if you and I are not matching too much right now. That's mostly me because I can't always hear where I am anymore. Hearing aids only do so much for you. All right, I'm super proud of you for taking charge of your practicing and checking in with us here. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and it does come to my email and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. Join me on the Facebook Q&A and I'll be happy to give you any help I can as you get ready for your Solo Fest audition. And happy practicing. That's always the best thing. Bass is best, right? See you.